Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm not even sure how long this is going to be, but I wanted to talk about a career in special forces. Is it for you? It may be, it may not be. Um, I told my wife I'm just going to wing this, and she said, "When do you not wing it?" Which I do. I wing it a lot. Um, I interviewed the command sergeant major in charge of all training a couple of months ago. A good friend of mine, Lee Strong. And he suggested I go out and look at Camp McCall. So Camp McCall is where Special Forces Assessment and Selection takes place. So I went out there. Today's Thursday. I went out there Tuesday. So out there 2 days. I was out there for 8 hours, hanging out with Sergeant Major, driving around, looking at events, talking about the Q course. And the reason they wanted me to go out is there's a lot of misinformation out there. I'm sorry, not looking at the Q course, looking at selection. There's a lot of misinformation out there about selection. And just be careful. It's almost like, when I went to selection, I had no information, none. And the only piece of advice I got, it was a great piece of advice. A buddy of mine got through and he told me to, before you get there, sew on the white tags on all your uniforms because it's a pain in the ass to do it when you get there. They write your roster number on it, right? So I didn't get a lot of information. It's almost like paralysis by analysis, I would imagine, if you're thinking about going and you're watching videos and this and that and the other. And if you think about it, if there's a guy giving you advice on selection, and even if he's a Green Beret or whatever, he went there years ago and he saw it from a student's point of view for 3 weeks in a very kind of canned environment, right? I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying you just got to be careful. Not all information you get is valid. Now, you can say that about me, and you'd be absolutely right. I went 22 years ago, and I saw it from a student's point of view. Now, I worked at Camp McCall after that, but I did not work at selection. If you're getting advice for somebody who was an assessor at selection, that's different, okay? But I think in this day and age, we tend to overthink things. And I'm not saying a career in special forces is for everybody. Obviously, it's not. But it may not be as far out of your grasp as you think. So if you're 18 to 35, and I don't know what the standard is, I say 35 because I was 35 when I went to selection. Okay? So if you think you're too old and you're 29, you're not. And I get that all the time. But realistically, if you're 16, and you're thinking about a career in the military, you should be kind of thinking this way, okay? Now's the time to kind of, think about what you want to do, what you want your life to be, and where you want to be when you're old like me, right? What do you want to look back on, okay? Now, if you think, I think in the media and in culture, we blow these special operations guys up to be superhuman, and they're absolutely not. Because I know tons of them, and I'm one myself. Just a regular guy who got there physically fit and was willing to do the work and get into the challenge. I have a good friend who's in his 30s now, and he went through selection probably 2 or 3 years ago and crushed it. Crushed the Q course, on a team now, loving life. And I had lunch with him a couple of months ago, and he said, I wish I'd have went in my 20s, but I always thought I wouldn't be able to do it. I always thought it was out of my grasp. And I'm telling you now, it's not, if you're willing to do a few things to get ready for it. So I'm just going to give you an overview of what me and the Sergeant Major talked about, and kind of give you, I'm not going to tell you standards, I'm not going to give you all the answers. That's on you. You've got to do that yourself. So basically, Special Forces Assessment and Selection takes place at Camp McCall, North Carolina, and is split into 3 kind of segments, right? Individual assessment, land navigation, and team week. Right? Let's take individual assessment. Individual assessment is your PT test, your run or multiple runs, ruck runs, obstacle course, all the things you do by yourself. That's on you. You can get ready for that before you get there. If you're not in awesome physical fitness condition when you get there, probably not the guy. Now, I've been looking on YouTube and all these training plans and eat right and 6 months of training and lift this and run this and ruck this. I didn't do any of that, right? I can't remember actually training up for selection. And this is me. And this is why I don't give advice in this round, because I'm different than you are. I don't know where you are physically. I was already a staff sergeant in the infantry, and I was already physically fit. I did a little bit of rucking, I think. I probably did a little bit of running, a little bit of swimming, and then I just went and did it. Now, the next category That was individual assessment, land navigation. This is where I really made it easy on myself because I already knew how to land nav and I was quite good at it. And you make life so much better for yourself if you can already land nav when you get there. They do teach land navigation at selection because it's an army regulation. You can't test people on stuff you haven't taught them. And however, it is fast and furious, and you're drinking from a fire hose, and you're already tired because you probably did a ruck run that morning. You probably got not that much sleep, and you're sitting in a classroom getting fed this stuff. And so learn how to land nav and be good at it before you get there. And then the last one is Team Week. Team Week is working as a team, figure out problem sets, and you've seen the videos of guys pulling, trucks and all that kind of stuff. That's working. And what they're trying to do, they're using this individual assessment, land navigation, and Team Week to assess 3 things on you: physical fitness, naturally, intellect, and character. Okay? Your physical fitness test is going to be throughout the whole thing. They've done this so long now, and it's pretty much the same course it's always been. The land nav points are still in the same place. There's hundreds of different lanes, but they haven't moved. Okay? The physical fitness stuff, that's on you. You do that before you get there, and you arrive in phenomenal shape, able to crush the PT test. There's really no hidden things that they're going to do. Push-ups, sit-ups, run, and to do plank and pull-ups. I think that's what it is, right? Look it up. You should go there and crush the PT test. And if you're required to do, 50 push-ups, then you should be able to do 70, right? Go there because they may not count some of them. Go there ready to crush that. That's on you, right? Intellect, that's going to be assessed throughout. How smart are you? And a lot of that is assessed on, okay, we're going to feed you from a fire hose with land navigation and see if you can apply it. If you already know how to land nav before you get there, that's 2 of the categories that you've already crushed before you got there. Day 1, physical fitness, land navigation. Character, you can't prepare for character. Either you have it or you're not. It comes from your DNA, it comes from your parents, it comes from your upbringing. Either you're a good person who works hard and a good team player, or you're not. If you crush physical fitness and you crush land navigation and everybody in your group peers you and says you're an asshole, they're not going to take you. Because all these assessors, they're all very professional, but they're always looking at you as somebody, do they want to be on a team with you? So those are the 3 things. And the way the Sergeant Major kind of explained it, he's like, imagine you have 3 buckets. And one you have physical fitness, one you have intellect, and one you have character. And over the whole 21 days, some of that stuff's getting spilled out of those buckets. How much do you have left when you're done? Okay? You're going to get worn down. It's not like, well, I can run 2 miles in 12 minutes, right? Great. Can you do it day after day after day with rucking? And I can ruck. I did a ruck last week and I did a 12-miler, right? Well, can you do a 12-miler every day, right? It's going to be a wearing down process. It is not beyond your capability. I'm telling you that right now. If you do the preparation that's required to get through selection, right? This organization, SWIC, the selection cadre, the assessors, the Sergeant Major out there, they're not looking to weed you out. They need people in the regiment. They want to get you through, but they will not sacrifice quality for quantity. That's the way it is, right? You're also kind of evaluated or assessed on the soft attributes, right? The RSOF attribute: integrity, courage, perseverance, personal responsibility, professionalism, adaptability, team player capability. I didn't know any of this when I went to selection. I just knew it was going to be tough, and I knew I wasn't going to quit, and I was going to bust my ass and try to do as well as I can. And I got selected, right? Now, honestly, on the last day when they're like, I thought I did pretty good, but there's no feedback, right? And we're in a world that you get a lot of feedback here, right? But, they put us all, whoever was left at the end of the selection, they said, okay, the following roster numbers go over here, and the rest of you go over here. And they're calling out like 125, 127, and you're looking at people going to that group, and you're like, oh, I thought he was pretty good. Maybe that's the pass group. Maybe I'm in the fail group, And then they pull us aside and, okay, you guys passed. And there's certain points in your life when your life trajectory goes off in another area. And this would be one of them, right? Special Forces has been good to me. I think there's a lot of emphasis on, wounded warriors and guys with no leg and guys with PTSD and alcohol problems, and we love the negativity. Everybody loves the negativity. It's the same in Vietnam, right? You can veterans from Vietnam and guys protesting with the beard and the booty cap and stop the war. For every one of those, there's 100 guys who came back from Vietnam and crushed it and started their own business and really did well in life. It's the same here, right? If you want to move your life in another trajectory, I would take a second look at it, but don't overthink it. Get the information from the good sources that are telling you the truth and not their opinion. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. But I'm telling you now, the 18 X-ray program, there's two ways you go into Special Forces. Either you're already a service member and you decide you want to do something different and you go to selection. And that's a great thing, because on an ODA, you may have a guy who used to be EOD, maybe one used to be a mechanic, one guy was a freaking chem bio guy, and two infantry guys. It gives you a lot of talent in one team, right? That's guys who are already in the Army, right? Or you come in off the street and you're an 18 X-ray, you sign up, you go to basic training, airborne school, and then you go to the preparation course, the Special Operations Preparation course, where they train you for like 6 weeks to pass selection. And the graduation rate is really high, because during that 6 weeks, they PT your ass off, they do a lot of land navigation, and they really get you ready for selection, right? Now that Special Operations Preparation course is open to regular Army folks, but there's some onus on your unit to let you go and support you and stuff like that. But it is available, and I would highly recommend you do it if you want to be successful. You go through that. Once you get selected, you'll get a Q course day, a qualification course. The qualification course, it goes from like a year and a half, depending on your MOS. There's 4 options for enlisted, right? Officers are a different thing. But there's 18 Bravo, which I was, is a Special Forces Weapons Sergeant. 18 Echo, which is a Communications Sergeant. 18 Charlie is an engineer. And 18 Delta is a medic, okay? Phenomenal training, all of them. And then you go through the whole Q course, and you go to an ODA, and then they do some really cool stuff around the world. I'm not here to sell the Army to anybody. I'm just telling you it's a good option. And sometimes we put obstacles in our way that are not really there, right? Fear of failure is a big one. Fear of the unknown. And then kind of, I'd never be able to do that, right? And I'm here to tell you that nobody is freaking superhuman. There's flawed people in every special operations unit in the world. And there's people who are good at stuff, people who are not so good at stuff, people who are confident, people who are less confident, but people who just stepped up and said, I'm going to try this, good, bad, or indifferent. If you don't make selection, they really do a great job about processing you and counseling on the things you didn't do well, and you learn a lot about yourself. But you shouldn't go there with that mindset. You should go there that I'm going to bust my ass every day, and I'm going to try, and I'm going to get to the end, and if they don't select me, then I will come back if they allow me, right? But you have to prepare. Land navigate, learn how to land nav properly, right? And get practice at it. Get yourself physically fit. Get used to carrying a rock, do PT. A lot of people will overtrain. If you overtrain and pick up an injury during training, and you get there with an injury, it's going to be very, very difficult for you. And you're going to end up with an injury that you may carry for the rest of your life. So don't do that. If you're in decent shape, you'll be okay. The standards are out there. There's tons of information. But again, there's so much information out there and so many people on social media running their mouth about standards of what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Just be careful of who you listen to before you go. All right? Look, I like I said, I spent 2 days ago, I spent the whole day out there. I looked at students. There's 400 students out there in the freezing cold. These are some of the best young people in America right now. There's this common narrative that all the young people are all fucking social media addicts and all this, and it's not the same as it was. There's some phenomenal young people in this country, and they're stepping up, they're going out there, and they're trying to make themselves better and get into an organization that will take care of them. All I'm saying is take a second look at it. If you've dismissed it before, take a second look at it, and it may be something that's well within your capability. Okay, guys, that's all I got. Thanks.